Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Woolly Thistle Shopcast. I'm Corinne, your host, and my co-host here is Maggie.
Hello.
Hello, and we are thrilled to be here. It's Monday morning for us, so we just had a whole weekend. It's March. Spring is springing somewhat.
It is.
We have a jam-packed episode, don't we, Maggie?
We do.
Who do we have on the show today?
We've got segments with Emma and Kelsey.
Yeah.
We have
Awesome.
yoga with Kim.
Yeah.
And we have a special interview with Mary Jean of Battenkill Fiber.
Yes, we do. And she's talking, well, first of all, Battenkill is the mill that makes Rambler yarn. So we're talking to her about that a little bit, but also her other venture, which is Textile Tours. So we're talking to Mary Jean about her upcoming trips, which we thought you would find very interesting and fun to listen to.
Yeah.
So we've got all that. So we've got, we need to keep our talking to a minimum because there's a whole lot going on out there.
We'll try.
We'll try. Yes, we'll try.
We'll try.
So let's just welcome everybody to the show. If you're new, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see here today. And if you're returning, thank you so much. I hope everyone hits the subscribe button. If everybody who watched hit the subscribe button, that would be wonderful. And what else do we want to tell people, Maggie?
Why don't we tell them who we are?
Oh, yes. Well, I did
Just
say,
in case.
I'm Corinne, and I own the Woolly Thistle, and this is Maggie, who is our product development manager and right-hand woman of all the things. I really appreciate you, Maggie. And yes, the Woolly Thistle is an online yarn shop that we often hear from customers where they're a local online yarn shop, which is such a nice compliment. But we specialize in woolly wool, mostly non-superwash, woollier wool that you can make your beautiful makes with that really become sort of heirloom quality because they get better with time and wearing, don't they?
They do.
Yes. Do you want to tell us what you're wearing today?
Sure. I am wearing, my sister actually knit this for me. It is the Humulus sweater. Mostly knit in Ullcentrum, so that is the main color, and then I think she used some scraps of Noro for the color work.
And so Ullcentrum is lovely. It's a Swedish. Is this their?
This is the worsted weight.
The worsted weight, which is a 3-ply.
Yeah,
lovely.
It's really nice. I do wear it quite a bit. There's like
Not a lot
minimal
of
pilling. Like it just wears really well.
Yeah,
like even where you would expect to see some pilling, it's just minimal.
I think it's knitted a gauge
cozy.
that probably helps with that. I have a worsted weight Ullcentrum sweater. It's very lacy and loose, and I do find that it pills a little bit, but I think it's just knitted at a looser gauge.
Yeah.
And also I think it's woolen spun, so it's working those little bits out. We love geeking out about construction of wool and yarn and breeds and all that good stuff. So if you enjoy that, you're in the right place.
So as you can see, I am wearing a shirt underneath it. I often wear a shirt underneath.
You're a delicate soul.
And I find it's just a little bit cozier.
Yeah. Whereas I'm a rhinoceros and I can pretty much wear anything next to skin.
Yeah.
But
even like the parts that touch my neck, like I have some Lopi sweaters that I absolutely love. They touch I'm fine.
You're fine with that? That's good.
Absolutely fine.
Yeah, Lopi is not the softest. Not much of what we have is really super soft. It's all got a hand and a tooth, and that actually for me
there are some things you could argue are definitively soft. But it definitely we have more that leans towards the rustic side.
Yes, and for me that's what's really exciting is that journey that your fingers take as you're knitting your project, and you're getting to understand the wool that you're working with and its different feeling and how it was created and all of that goes into it. And I love that. If I was just knitting, I'm going to say it, if I was just knitting with superwash merino all the time, in fact I did, that's how I started out, and I got kind of bored. Like it was always the same. I don't want to diss superwash merino. It definitely has a place, and if you love it, that's great. I think then though the indie dyed stuff, that's where the real fun of it comes in, is seeing all these beautiful colors and all that. But over time for me, I got much more interested in the feel of the wool as I was knitting with it and how it performs once you have a finished object too. Yeah.
Once I started spinning, that for me opened up the whole world of what types of wools are there, how do they behave, how do they feel, and I love that we have so many non-superwash wools because I find that's really my happy place, because you can just sort of, they have a life to them that I agree. Non-superwash has a place. I still have plenty of skeins of superwash.
Me too. I love to look at them.
that get knit, and I love the work that indie dyers do.
Yeah.
But my jam is really working with those closer to the natural,
minimally processed, closer to the sheep. I think you're right. Spinners get this, and for a long time they've been exploring different breeds and different preps and different ways of spinning and all of that. I think you're making some spinners out of our viewers too.
I think it's not just me. I think especially Emma's spinning. I think that there is. I think once you're so close, if you're knitting with a lot of the wools that we carry, you're already sort of so close. You definitely have an appreciation. I know not everybody wants to be a spinner.
I'm not.
That's totally.
Yeah, that's. I just want to knit with the stuff.
Yeah.
Don't want to also have to make the stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But I think a lot of people do resonate with that. As part of their journey is, let me get some fiber and make it into yarn.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, I think that's really exciting if that's your jam. If you just are a knitter, and it's not just a knitter, but if you're really, my thing is knitting. I would love to get more into weaving. I've got the setup, I need to do it, but it's not as portable as knitting. I just love that knitting is, when you go out, take your knitting, right?
Right. I mean, I think for me too, I only have a rigid heddle, and it's sort of sitting, giving me the side eye. But even spinning lately, it isn't portable. What I like is actually when I sit down and give myself about 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
It's fine with the rigid heddle if I've already set it up, then it's easy to do the 15 minutes a day, and that's not even nearly as hard as setting up the
the setting up is 99% of the work with a floor loom, although it's very enjoyable.
Right.
Which did surprise me that it took so long and that it was quite enjoyable.
Right.
Yeah. But I need to do it.
But it's just a matter of sort of putting it on the calendar and saying, okay, this is the time
I'm going to dedicate this day, in my case, maybe a couple of days, because it's slow going.
Especially when you're still new to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and yes, it is. And I did get it set up. It was a bit messy, and it still is a bit messy, but I haven't actually started weaving with it because I'm not happy with the warp. So, I've got problems to fix there. And it just looks nice, ready to go, I suppose. I don't know. But I'll get there.
Yeah.
I'll get there. In the meantime, knitting just fits in those nooks and crannies of time.
Yeah.
Or at the end of a day when you're tired and you sit down and you just want to watch something and knit, it's perfect. You don't have to go off to a different room to get out the gear. And that's why I love knitting so much. It really is your constant friend.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Here's mine today. This goes everywhere right now. So yes, well, that was interesting.
That was a really long intro to who we are.
Yes, but I think that actually does describe pretty much who we are as well, for sure. Do we want to mention anything about our PIPS program, which is our loyalty program? When you shop with us, you earn PIPS. All you need to do is have an account. It's easy. Then you start earning PIPS. It's free. And you start earning PIPS, and then you get money off in future orders, which is really nice. And I want to put a plug for if you ever feel like you want to send us a video of you and your whips or FOs or anything that you're doing that would be of interest to our customers and viewers, please send in a video. We have instructions on the website for you, and we love having those segments, and we haven't had one for a while, I think because we forget to talk about it. So yes, if that's you, give it a go. It's really fun, and we're happy to share what you are talking about here on the Shopcast. Okay, so
I will also add, we also have an active community that you're invited to join if you aren't already a member. We have a Facebook group that has about 20,000 of the friendliest knitters you'll find in the whole world.
Yep.
And our Ravelry group is also really active.
Yes.
So if Ravelry is your jam, there's also quite a few people who are in both places.
Yep.
And
just be in one of them though, for sure.
Yeah, it's just a wonderful place to hang out.
It really is. People are great. There's so much good conversation and help in those groups. Should we announce the winner, Maggie?
Sure.
All right.
So every episode we announce at least 2 winners. And what you'll receive is a $25 gift card to the Woolly Thistle.
Yep.
The first winner today is at Denise Engel 1451. Denise says, thanks for today's Shopcast. Nice to hear how the Woolly Thistle began. Great sweater, Caitlin. Glad you got chosen to represent Crofters, Rachel. Hope to see green grass growing soon. Me too.
Yeah.
Denise, you have won a $25 gift card to the Woolly Thistle. If you can email us at info@thewoollythistle, put prize winner in all caps, and we will get you your gift card.
Fantastic. And if you'd like to be in the running for your own chance at winning a gift card, just leave us a comment below. Give us a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And just leave us a comment telling us whatever you think about. That's fine. We don't have a prompt usually. It's just leave us a message. Yeah. All right. So do you want to talk about what we're knitting? I feel like we've got to keep moving, or should we go to
I wanted to talk about, so we just finished a KAL, and you and
Yes.
I on Friday evening had the
Yes.
particular joy of spending a good chunk of time with our KALers.
Yep.
Some of our KALers.
Yep.
We had a Colorwork accessories KAL.
That just
which is
finished.
You're lovely. That's what you knit during the KAL.
Yep.
I did not finish what I was knitting during
What were
the
you
KAL.
knitting
so I'm
again?
not even here.
I don't
I
remember.
was knitting on my Latvian mittens.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
I still have 3/4 of one Latvian mitten because
Oh.
this I find this season I've just been easily distracted, so I knit some other things. But
Just go with it.
but many of our community members knit amazing projects.
Yes.
And
it was a show and tell, and it was really fun.
It was really, really fun.
Yeah.
And I was delighted to see how many of our knit along participants, this was their first knit along.
I know. Did you notice that too?
I did. So
Yeah.
there were about 55 to 60 people who joined us on Zoom.
Yeah. Very
and-
intimate. It was lovely.
Yeah, it was absolutely lovely, and I loved hearing about their projects.
Yeah.
And seeing all the work that they did. It was
Yeah.
just really, really wonderful.
Yes, it was. But yes, many people did say that this was their first KAL and they really, really enjoyed it, which is thrilling. I love to hear that from folks. So
Yeah.
if you're out there and you're interested in KALing with us, we do have another one starting very soon. It's a shawl KAL. And I think it's 6 weeks long, Maggie. And you can knit any shawl that you like in any yarn that you like. I think 80% of it has to be yarn that you purchase from the Woolly Thistle. That's all we ask, so that you are in the running for prizes. You can knit anything you like and knit along with us. In any yarn at all, but to be in the running for prizes, you want to include Woolly Thistle yarn. That's about it.
Yeah, and it can be yarn that you've purchased at the Woolly
Anytime.
Thistle at any point in time.
Correct.
And
it can be a hat, or it can be a any kind of shawl. Anything goes. We have a lot of good examples in the shop, in the website, so if you go there you'll get lots of ideas. But yes, so anyway, thank you if you came out on Friday and had that Zoom call with us. It was really enjoyable. What I like about them is we're doing them from home too.
Yeah.
So I'm sat on the couch, and so you're in your little book nook, which is
I'm in my
lovely.
little book nook.
And it's just really relaxing and a nice way to spend Friday night. So we'll be doing a cast on Zoom for the shawl KAL, but we won't be doing it right as we cast on because it's Easter, I believe.
Yeah, I think we cast on Good Friday.
Yeah.
So
the 29th, I believe.
Cast on your projects, share them in the groups. And then we'll plan
a knit night.
Yeah,
a Zoom call, because people might be traveling and stuff, so we'll do it a little bit after Easter.
Yeah, and the knit night will be, in order to get the invite to the knit night, you have to be signed up for the KAL, which is free on the website if you just go to the website.
Yeah, and we're not sure how many people will want to attend the Zoom night, but at the beginning of the Colorwork Zoom night, we didn't realize just how many people would show up, and not everyone could get in. We have fixed that. In all eventualities, you should be able to get in. I'd be really surprised if you can't now. So we're not going to cap out. Yeah, so that would be good. So feel free to come, and so sorry if you missed it last time. So yeah, I'm excited for this. Do you know what you're going to knit?
I think I do.
Dude.
I'll show you in a little bit once we start going through the shop.
Okay, so what's next, Maggie?
So I think we should go to a segment. Let's go see Kelsey.
All right, and we'll see you on the other side.
Hi, it's Kelsey here. I'm just jumping in and not wearing any knits today. First, because I couldn't decide what to do, and second, I will tell you really why in a second. It's been pretty warm here in Vermont. It's March, but it's been in the 50s the last few days, and had some cold last week, but other than that, it's really been warming up. I have been wearing my sweater vest that I finished to work. I'm not wearing it, so I don't know why I did that, but that's a vest into motion. So I have been able to wear some knits, but otherwise it's been sort of, to me, you scale all the way from full like hats and cowls and sweater weather, and then it gets to vest weather, and then it gets to t-shirt weather, and then it gets to just wool socks. It takes a lot for me to lose the wool socks. During the day it can get hot and I won't wear wool socks, but they don't get put away sort of all year round. So for me, it goes sort of from quantity of wool from about that much all the way down to just socks and maybe just short socks. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I wanted to talk a little bit about summer knitting, because I don't know about you, but I always find that the patterns for summer projects come out in the summer. I'm not a fast enough knitter for that to make sense. If a pattern for a t-shirt or a tank or something comes out in June, I'm not going to likely finish it in time to wear it that often before it starts getting cool again, where we live in the fall. So what ends up happening is patterns come out in June, July, August, and then I don't knit them then, and then all the way around, I wait until somewhere around February, March, maybe even April, and then I start my summer knitting for the next for the next year. So I'm always about 10 months behind, but that's fine. Knitting is not a fast fashion endeavor, so here we are. I wanted to talk about Sauna. So Sauna is by Wool Dreamers, who are based in Spain. So it's half Andalusian cotton and half wool. And I believe, does it say? Yeah, so it's Merino Entrefina, so fine merino, and Manchega. So the same, do I have it out here? It's some Spanish merino, untreated Spanish merino, and some of the same wool that goes into their Mancholopi, their Manchega wool. But it is extremely soft. I don't know why or how a cotton wool blend is this soft, but it is. Absolutely next to skin, absolutely like t-shirt, maybe not tank top, because like tank tops and wool, like I might not go that far, but definitely t-shirt, spring, summer evenings, fall, absolutely light cardigans, especially lacy light cardigans. Fantastic. This is the color Fratelli, which you might not be able to tell because I said, again, my lighting is kind of whatever. But it is a very light blue. It is a bluish, it's gray, but like on the blue side of gray. So I don't know if you can tell that. The recommended gauge is actually 26 stitches. So it is a fingering weight. It's a fairly light fingering weight, but it is fairly fluffy. If you can seam this little tail end here. And I have a different ball here in a different color. It's fairly thin, but it is fairly fluffy. So I think somewhere in the 26 stitch range, even going up to 24, you could probably still pull it off depending on what kind of garment and what kind of coverage you're looking for. I've done a couple of swatches. This one I may have shown on the podcast before, but I don't remember. So I'm going to show it again. It's in some textured stitches. So these guys are some simple cables, and this is it a seed stitch? Moss stitch? Something like that. One of those. A knit purl texture stitch. As you can see, still fairly floppy. I didn't actually measure gauge on this swatch. I just wanted to test out what texture would look like. Cables are very flat. It doesn't have sort of the puff of, see, you can almost barely tell there's cables there. Because of it's a thin yarn, and it's not a super round yarn. It is a 2-ply yarn, and some of the cotton also, it just kind of stretches out and deflates. So you can see the cables, but you're not going to get like the raised cable texture. So I did swatch for gauge because I've been looking at a few patterns that are in a stockinette stitch. So this is on a US 4. So there's my 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I did get 26 stitches. I am a fairly tight knitter, so you may not need a 4 to get 26 stitches. You may need a 2 or a 3, depending on how you knit. You may also need a 5, but just as a warning to others, I knit fairly tightly. It's a little bit of my technique and a little bit of just how I pull. But I think the 26, and this is a very light sort of beigey color, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's a very nice sort of t-shirt fabric. It's got enough heft to it, but also reasonably drapey and reasonably, so you can't see me through it, reasonably opaque. So that is a reason why I don't have knitting on, because I'm making it. This is as far as I've gotten, is a swatch, but I will get somewhere with this. This is what I have sort of a t-shirt quantity of yarn in, so it'll be this sort of cool gray to light blue, bluey color. Yeah, it is fairly bluey. It's not just a cool gray. It's not like a silver gray. It's definitely got blue to it. So that's my first thing. The other thing I would note about sauna is you could definitely also hold it double. It kind of defeats a little bit of the coolness purpose of it. But if, say, you had a DK-ish weight pattern that was a lacy cardigan or something that was at 20 stitches or 21 stitches, holding this double, you may be able to get gauge with that, and that would also be really nice. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about, was sort of my summer knitting thoughts and swatching. The second is sort of the opposite. This yarn here is called Jagger Spun Woolful, which is a mouthful, but it's Black Welsh Mountain and Dorset Horn fiber. It is British fiber, but it is spun in Maine at a worsted mill in the state of Maine in the United States. It is a 3-ply, which, there you go, there. 3-ply yarn, so it is fairly round, but it is pretty fuzzy. So it won't be like really crisp, stiff stitch definition, but it does have some heft to it because it is 3-ply. It comes in a 5 natural colors, which, here's my swatch. Yes, I can count. There's only 4. The last is a sort of natural cream color, but these are the sort of light gray through dark gray, all having a little bit of a warm brown kind of gray to them. So I knit these top 2, the darkest 2, which is a little bit of an optical illusion as well, but the top 2 are knit on a US 4, so they're tighter. The bottom 2 are knit on a US 6. So they're looser, so that is not your eyes thinking that the darker is smaller. It is actually smaller. On the US 4, I got 24 stitches. So that, and this is supposed to be, this is a worsted weight, so that's pretty tight for a worsted weight, but it still works pretty well. So that's actually quite a good range for this yarn. When you get up to the US 6, are these 2 lighter colors, much stretchier, definitely a bit drapier. I would choose the 6 as the sweater, for a sweater, if I were to use this for a sweater. That is 21 stitches for me. Again, for me. May not be for you. But just to show, 24 stitches over here. 21 stitches over here. Much stretchier, a bit drapier. I think the 24 stitches would actually be really great in like a mitten. Something that you want to be more windproof and waterproof. This yarn is fuzzy enough, you probably can't really see it, but it's fuzzy enough to give you some more of that effect. Similar to how Let Lopey does that, where you have sort of that other layer of fuzz that makes something even warmer or more waterproof than it would have normally been if it didn't have that fuzz. So again, this is Jagger Spun Woolful, Black Welsh Mountain, and Dorset Horn in these 5 blended colors. It is quite woolly, but if you're a fan of things like Let Lopey and Ullcentrum, this is right in that same, it's softer than Let Lopey for sure. I would say it's very similar to something like Ullcentrum. So I just wanted to show that range of colors and a little bit of range in those fabrics. Great. And then the very last thing I wanted to talk about is something that's been in the shop for a while, and I've wanted it for a while, and I haven't, I didn't get it. And this is a classic move for me, where I bought DK to worsted weight sock yarn in March. So we'll see if these get knit up for this winter or if this is going to be a next winter situation. I also wouldn't say no to this as a hiking sock. So this is Rauma Vandre, and these are, let me see, color number 10. And then these are in color 19. So Vandre is Rauma's DK to worsted weight sock yarn. So I bought 2 of these. So these are each 50 grams. So 2 50-gram balls, of this sort of gray silver color, and 1 of this rusty red to do at least heels and toes, if not also cuffs. We'll see how it goes with the amounts of yarn that I bought and how tall I want my socks and all of those things. The other cool thing about Vandre is they do actually even recommend that you wash the sock, your finished project, in the washing machine before you wear them, because they find it kind of pulls. It doesn't felt or full, but it's like slightly down that train. It pulls in the fibers a little bit. It kind of tightens them up, makes them more weatherproof, waterproof, warmer, that whole thing. So I would definitely recommend, if you're concerned about gauge, is to knit a gauge swatch and wash it the same way that you would if you were going to do that to your socks, because you may lose some gauge. The other option is just knit a sock that's a bit bigger than you normally do, but then what you normally do might not be something in this gauge of yarn. So this is my next big purchase, and we'll see how this goes and where it goes from here, and I will keep you updated on if I do that soon and how it turns out, and anything I learn from that knitting and DK or worsted weight first of all, and then that washing process. But I just wanted to show off Vandre again, because I've been looking at it and I've been wanting to buy it and I just haven't. So that's really all I have to talk about today. Some sort of summer plans, some swatching. I just really like swatching, so wanted to share those couple of things that I've learned about some yarns that we have in the shop. Anyway, have fun with finishing your winter knitting, starting your spring and summer knitting, or starting your winter knitting for next winter, or whatever you like to do this time of year. And well, just enjoy yourself. Have a good one. Bye.
Well, we both hope that you enjoyed your time with Kelsey. Both of us are going to be watching this segment after recording. It's just been a little busy. So Kelsey, rock on. Can't wait to watch your segment too. So what's next, Maggie?
I think, we didn't get into what you're wearing.
Oh, well, everybody knows what I'm wearing, right? This is my vanilla sweater, which I still wear an awful lot. I've got several of them. I think this is the first one I knit. And talking about not pilling, this is Rauma Finullgarn, and I've worn this thing constantly, and it does not pill. It just does not pill. At least not that I can see. Do you see?
No. I do wonder, so yours is now
several years old.
Yes, several years old, which I think that's amazing.
Which is
one of not look several
right.
years old, which I think is one of the bonuses of knitting with woolly wool.
Exactly. It gets better with time. And the drape gets, softer and everything.
I have heard from some vanilla sweater knitters that they did have pilling happen, and that it works itself out, and then it should stop.
So that is a feature of woolen spun yarn, though. There's two ways, or two main ways to spin yarn at a mill. One is worsted spun, one is woolen spun. Woolen spun yarn is when it's all higgledy-piggledy and things are sticking out and it gets all spun together. And those little fibers are going to work their way out, which looks like a pill. So you can get pilling right away, and it does, take some time to work its way out. But once it's done, you're golden. It's not going to pill anymore.
Right.
And some softer wools will pill anyway.
Right. The finer the wool is, then what happens is the fiber breaks with contact and abrasion.
Yeah.
And then it pills.
Which is another reason why these wools, they're not the softest wools, so they're stronger, they last longer, and they do soften with age. They get better after blocking, all of that.
Right.
Yes, and you get that crisp or, that strong, toothy feeling while you're knitting, and your fingers get to crave that, I think. So yes, I've worn this for years. I don't even remember the year that this came out, but it's available in the shop if you want to knit your own vanilla sweater. loads and loads of people have knitted it at this point. Yeah.
And because I know you just talked about them last episode, but somebody will ask.
What, these? These I just knitted for the Colorwork KAL. I've often wanted wristers because I did knit these at a shorter sleeve length. And so I just wanted these, and I just made them up. They are cast on with a little picot cast on, and then they're made with Jameson and Smith, of course. And I say of course because that's the quintessential colorwork yarn, but I did little motifs, and then I did some increases to fit my arms in, and then I could have maybe knit a little bit longer, I realized, wearing it with this. But anyway, they're just wrist warmers of my own little design. They're not perfect. Things don't match up very well in some places.
That's okay.
It's totally fine. In fact, I can't even see where the problem is.
Yeah.
What's the problem? I don't know.
I love that we look for the issues. Like, I know there were issues with these.
There's definitely issues. But yeah, so they're just colorful in spring. My little spring wristlets. It is springtime. I think spring is coming earlier to New Hampshire. I just read that it was New Hampshire's warmest winter on record ever this year, which you can definitely tell is changing. But yes, so these are my spring wristlets, and just throw them on and keep my little wrists warm.
Nice.
Yes.
And what are you knitting on?
Oh, well, right now I have some secret knitting, so I'm not going to share that. But in the meantime, I'm knitting on socks. Socks. So I showed you that I found this sock. It's the Hermione's Everyday Sock. And it's knitted in West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply, which I just love. Look, I knit a whole sock, and I've got all this left, and I'm on my second cuff. I love this yarn. Talking about soft.
I know.
It's so soft.
It is.
And it has 25% nylon in it, which makes it bulletproof and great for sock knitting. So I'm knitting on these, and I don't know if I'd finished this last time.
I don't think you had.
I want one of these.
Yeah.
Oh, these are, oh Maggie, you found these.
I did.
These are Daughter of a Shepherd socks that I knitted. Just little ankle whatever.
So nice.
Yes, they do. There's a good reason for showing them.
Yes.
All right, so this is my if you go out socks, I think. It's just if you go out. So designed by Virginia Settler Rauma.
Yeah. I think it's Rauma. If I've been saying it wrong, Virginia, email me.
You have corrected me before, but now I'm second guessing which way was right.
I always say Rauma. So.
Rauma to go with the poet. I think that's it, but then, or is it Rauma not like the poet? I don't know. Anyway, lovely pattern, and this is knitted in Wild Clover colorway of our Rambler yarn, and I am ready to start the heel. Here we go. Ready to start the heel on this one. This is very potato chippy, and I almost wish I didn't have to do heels because I could just keep knitting straight down on these without thinking about it too hard.
I like doing the heel.
I do.
I do.
I find it an interruption. You know,
I don't mind it. I really like. There's something about that sort of like interlude of doing the heel flap and gusset. I'm definitely a heel flap and gusset.
Yes,
girl.
me too.
I will do a short row heel if the pattern or the sock really calls for it.
I'm a top down.
I really enjoy something about that squishy gusset.
Oh yeah,
or the flap.
Yes, that
so
bit
nice,
here.
so nice.
All right. So what are you knitting on?
I have been knitting on a few different things.
Ooh, fun.
Not the color work I should have been, but some of the members of our community have been challenging themselves to knit a pair of socks a month.
Yep.
And I am on my March socks. I finished sock number 1.
Gorgeous.
So this was knit with Garthenor Snowdonia. And as the main color, and then I used a little bit of Rambler leftover on the
gray
colorwork accent that I added.
Did you make this up?
I got it from a Stitch Dictionary.
Awesome.
So I didn't really make it up. I just stuck it in there.
It's beautiful.
I can get it over my heel, which is lovely. It is a little snug. So on sock number 2, I went up a needle size for the color work, and I feel confident that I'll be able to wear them and I'll like them. So I finished sock 1 and started sock 2, so I am on track.
So these are your March socks?
So these are my March socks.
So these are my February and March socks. That's why I'm going to, because I had one each. No, I started this in March or February or so. I don't know. But anyway.
So if you're new here,
yes,
one of the perks of our community is that we're not going to nitpick each other about the rules of a KAL.
It's just meant to be fun. And this isn't even really a KAL, although we'd love to hear from you if you're doing a sock a month as well.
Yeah.
A pair of socks a month or a sock, whatever. You know, you make your own rules.
It shouldn't
Let's
be
just do it together.
stressful. And if you miss a month or if something comes up, just... It's knitting. It's okay.
It's knitting. That's
okay.
right.
So for myself, thankfully it's not been stressful so far. And my goal is usually that as long as I have the first sock done around the 15th, I know that I can get get a sock done in 2 weeks, and it's at a pace that is comfortable for me. So I finished this one literally on the 15th and cast this one on the 16th.
Very nice. Good for you. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have one of these finished by March. Then maybe both of them. I don't know. I'm really enjoying just sitting knitting and round and round and round. And Maggie, you know, with these Daughter of a Shepherd, I actually had forgotten that I knitted these, and I feel like I could claim them as one of this month's. So, you know, anything goes. It doesn't matter. Just be knitting with us for sure. But this is Garthenor, and how squishy is
It's really, really nice. I haven't blocked it yet. I haven't done any of that, but
it looks
feels
lovely.
Really nice. I love the feel of it.
Let's see it in the ball. Oh, and it's marled.
In the ball. It is marled. So this is still from the first skein. So I do have a second skein. I'm sure I will. They're
50-gram skeins.
They are 50-gram skeins, but they're quite generous. I wear a women's US 6.5, so fairly average size foot. Yeah.
Beautiful. Really, really nice. And we have more of this coming, I believe.
We do. We have a little bit in stock right now, and we have an order on its way.
Oh, and you're knitting with fancy little...
the little... I think they're high.
Yeah, flippy things. I can never work out how to knit in the round with them.
Yeah, I really like them. I am one of these people that I generally try to avoid magic loop if I don't have to. Yeah. At least for socks. And I go back and forth between DPNs and these little flippy things. Yeah. And I really, really like them.
I am definitely a magic looper.
Yeah.
Always.
So I think the nice thing is try different things and see what you like best.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
But you need to show me how to do that because I can't get my head around it on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. That sounds good.
No problem.
So do you have any plans for your next pair of sock? Are you sort of sock dreaming about what's next?
I have not yet begun to think about April socks. Yeah. Not sure. This yarn's been really tempting.
Yes.
We'll talk about that yarn.
Yes.
Shortly, but,
yes. I'm actually wearing my January socks here. I need to.
You didn't weave in your end.
I did not weave in my end.
Yourself as
my God. There's a trail of.
Then, do you want to see what else I've done? I did a little
She is so cute.
I was hoping to have her dress done for this morning, but I couldn't get it done. So, I've been knitting through. This is the second one I've knit from Mouche and Friends, which is this amazing book from Lina. Written by Cynthia Ballet. I love this book.
She's so cute.
So the only thing that I did a little bit different was I added some mohair. So I knit her with JNS 2-ply. This is all one ball. So one ball got you a little, her name is Aggie.
Her ears are perfect. Oh, and I love her little
she's got like a little garter.
Garterage. Yeah.
And you can see the halo a little bit. I used Biches Bûches silk mohair.
Nice.
And she's so cute. So if you want to hold her. Her dress is...
Her name is Aggie?
Her name is Aggie. That's within the book.
Okay.
So her dress is 3/4 of the way done. I had a moment yesterday where I realized, have you ever been knitting and then all of a sudden you look at the pattern and it says with smaller needle and you're like,
didn't know I
was
had
I supposed to be knitting with a bigger needle? And yes, I was.
Is it gonna fit?
So I think it'll fit. I need to redo so the back of the dress you bind off, and I think I need to use a stretchier bind off, and then I'll be able to get it over sweet little Aggie without strangling her. So she'll have her dress shortly.
Very lovely.
Yes, love that.
You're very good with your placement of eyes and little.
So I'd love to take all the credit for that, but in the book she literally tells you she has you put in scrap yarn for the placement of each eye. Yeah. She has you put in scrap yarn for the placement of the nose. If you don't stop and knit the ear right away, she'll have you put placement in and where you pick up stitches. So
how long does it take to knit a little person or a little animal?
So I tend to work on it over the course of a few days.
Yeah.
Because it is on particularly small needles.
Yeah.
And as long as I mark in the pattern where I'm stopping,
Right.
then
You're
it's
good.
easy to just pick it right back up.
I mean, there's not many stitches really in it, is there? I'm scared of working on such small diameters.
Yeah.
Not my jam. It's
Yeah.
sort of like
it's a
fingers
little
on a
fiddly,
glove.
but it's so fun.
Yeah.
There's something about, because she has you, so I knit the duck. Where's the little Nana duck?
Yes, where's
She's
Nana
gonna have a
duck?
friend. Look, Nana. So she has you start, all the patterns tend to start at the top of the head or somewhere at the top, and they're knit seamlessly with like a variety of short row shaping.
Right.
And so you just kind of work the whole animal. You stop when you're supposed to knit a wing or an arm, and
Yeah.
it's so clever.
Yeah.
I have knit a lot of toys over the year, and it is just so clever
Okay.
the way that she does these. So
Well,
there's
I know-
no seaming at the end. There's like literally one seam after you
Amazing.
stuff them.
Amazing. So I think we're out of stock of the book, but I'm sure it's on order.
Yeah.
We keep selling out of it because I think Maggie's little friends here.
Well, and I know a number of people, they're in our Ravelry group, there's a thread. There are a number of people that are knitting these.
Yeah.
So next,
I love her wings.
I know. Next up, so this one was also knit with J&S 2-ply. I'm
Yeah.
really enjoying the J&S 2-ply for this.
For toys, I mean, who'd have thunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, very pretty. Well done, you. I can't wait to see her all dressed and finished.
So, yes, soon.
Yes.
Soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that's it. Are you finished?
So
with
that's what I
your
have
range?
with me today. I did finish another hat, but I didn't bring it with me.
Okay. Will you bring it next time?
I can bring it next time, yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised. I was knitting it to try and use up the skein of hand spun, and I think I can get a third hat out of this, which is crazy.
Wow. That is good.
So,
that is good.
yeah.
What else do we want to talk about?
I think we should go visit Emma.
Let's go visit Emma, and we'll see you on the other side.
Hi everyone, my name's Emma and I'm coming to you from Baltimore, Maryland, as I do about once a month. And it's so nice to be here with all of you. I hope your Friday or your weekend or whatever day you're watching this is going really well. So yeah, I last time I spoke to you, I did this like slightly crazy thing where I just like pulled a bunch of random Shetland scraps out of that gray and white bin over there in the cubes. And I decided I was going to make a headband with whatever I pulled out of there. And if you watch that segment, I did reject some colors, but I just kept pulling colors until I had like a 5-color palette that would go with white that I could make into a headband. And so I'd already made this headband. This is not the one that I made as a result of the experiment. And I thought it was kind of fun, but again, I had just picked random colors and it was like, well, it's kind of a lot. The colors don't really go together. It does work. It's fun and funky. But I thought maybe I can make a little bit of a more cohesive palette next time. So I pulled 5 colors plus white. And this one, I used a slightly different pattern. So it's not quite as wide, but I also used a different yarn. So for this one, I used Jamieson & Smith 2-ply jumper weight in 203, the gray, for the background. And for this one I used Biches Bûches, which is much more lightweight. You can see this is the finished headband. You can see that this one, the Piri is smaller, but the Piri, the little motif at the top, is smaller by 2 than this one. But that should only account for two rows. Yeah, it's quite a lot. The vertical gauge is quite a lot smaller. Yeah, to make these headbands, I just, I cast on 132 and I do the ribbing, end up with 144. I do the chart. I usually use 24 stitch horizontal charts. And then I finish with the same Piri, and then I decrease down again to 132 and do a couple of rows of ribbing. What I've learned from this one is that I should actually use a smaller needle size as well for the ribbing, because it kind of flares out. But when you're wearing it, it's not really a big deal. Yeah, it's just a little, keeps your ears warm. If you're not a hat person or you like to wear your hair up, this is a nice option. I used a modified oxo motif. You can see there's an X and an O here. This is the X and this is the O, but it's stylized into snowflakes. I have loads of pattern books that I end up using for things like this. And I chart it, you can use the Microsoft Excel to chart, or you can go directly from the book. Sometimes I just outline these little the O that I want, the shape, the lozenge, and I just fill it in randomly as I feel like it, and then I put them a certain distance apart so that the whole repeat is 24, and then I just create some kind of stylized X based on how I'm feeling that day. There's all sorts of fun, creative things to do with scraps. Another fun and creative thing you can do with scraps is make something like this, which is the sea glass tee. This is a little t-shirt that I made a few years ago. It was really, really popular a few years ago. It's by Wool and Pine. It's just a circular yoke t-shirt where you create magic knots to change the colors every single round, and it's just 1 by 1 color work, and both colors change every round at least in the original sample. You can do whatever you want. A lot of people just hold, like they'll just have one of the strands will be white and then they'll alternate the other one. Like they'll change the other one out. Some people use minis, so they'll have like bigger stripes of each color. But if you look at the back, you can see there's magic knots on it, which are the little dots that you see there where I tied the strands together. But they don't come apart. They don't come out. They're very secure. You have to be careful if you're using a single ply, which a lot of this is. But yeah, sometimes I hold a little bit of mohair in there just for fun. Yeah, I love this way to use scraps. So this is just another little part of my how to use your scraps series. So like, this is a great way. This is a great way. I also have a Paul Clay yoke that I recently finished, which got a little bit of color bleeding on it in the bath, so I'm trying to troubleshoot that. This is another great way to use scraps. This is my Paul Clay, which I finished a few weeks ago. Reds and pinks, super fun. So yeah, I really advocate for finding uses for scrap yarn because I have so much of it, and it like kind of overwhelms me sometimes, and I'm wondering if you feel the same. Yeah, like small Fair Isle projects are great. Again, all of these things just happen to be within reach because my desk is a mess. Little coffee sleeves like this. This goes around a coffee cup. These things, yeah, I get these ideas in my head and I have to make them a reality. And sometimes they get written into patterns and sometimes they don't. But, you know, so yeah, I am kind of working through like a lot of whips right now because I would really like to start a big Fair Isle project. That I will hopefully finish by Rhinebeck this year. Like I really want to knit like a big V-neck sweater, like a full all over banded design in blues, and white. So I'm excited to start that soon. But, first I kind of want to finish up whips. Do you ever feel that way? Like you have a big thing in your head and you're like, well, it doesn't really matter if I have lots of whips, because in theory, like I can have as many as I want. Although sometimes it just takes up space in your head and you're like, I just need the mental freedom to just cast on something big and not have a whole bunch of small projects just like sitting there being like, you didn't finish me or whatever, you know what I mean? So I am looking forward to just having some of this off the needles. And so actually I was going through my whips and I found something from like 2019. I don't know if you all are people who like keep whips around for that long. I'm not usually. Like I may have a lot of whips at a time, but I don't tend to have things from that long ago just still sitting on the needles. But I had knitted one mitten, and this is just like a single ply merino mitten. And I knitted it in 2019 and I started the next one. But I just done the ribbing because I'm the kind of person who frequently will just immediately start the next project or the next, like the second sleeve or mitten or sock. Even if I just do like a couple rounds of ribbing just so it's started because I clearly think that will make me finish it. Evidently that didn't happen in this case because I knitted this entire mitten, which is just this is a Norwegian mitten from the book Mittens from Around Norway, which I think might be out of print. But if you have this book, it's called like the Women's Weather Vane Mittens or something. And yeah, the second one had started and all it was ribbing, and so I decided this week, I was like, that's taking up space in my head. I better knit the second one. So I did. I knitted the second one. And shockingly, my gauge hasn't changed that much over the last 5 years, which surprises me. Maybe 4 years. The latest I could have made this mitten was like January or February of 2020. So there's a chance that it's only been 4 years. But yeah, they're the same size, mostly. Yeah, yeah, and the second one, more recent one, is a tiny bit bigger, I think. I did use a different needle. I used the same size needle, but I used a different needle because the Addies that I had, the cords had a kink in them, so I got a Chiaogu needle in the same size. I used a US 1.5 to make mittens like this. This is just single ply merino. I think I dyed it myself a long time ago, but this is like, mittens like this is another thing I would do with, like, if I had like 30 grams of a skein of sock yarn or just like Rauma Finullgarn or something, I would consider making something like this. 30 grams of each color is about how much these take. They don't have thumbs yet, but hopefully I won't let that linger too long and I will put thumbs on them. So yeah, this was really fun. It took me a few evenings to knit the second one, and I really enjoyed that process and the, like, using yarn that I hadn't used in type of yarn that I hadn't used in a long time. I used to make mittens like this all the time, and I'm much more into woolier wool, as many of us are, but yeah, it was fun and a rewarding experience to feel accomplished and like I'd knitted something, you know, gotten a lot of, freed up some mental space by almost finishing these. They're not quite done, so, you know, ask me again in a little while, but I'm pretty pleased that they're mostly off the needles. So, yeah, I think it's just one of those like spring cleaning seasons where I'm like, right, let's finish up a bunch of these whips so we can get to some new stuff. Summer is coming. I would like to just have, you know, the freedom to just kind of cast on whatever I want. I mean, I sort of feel like I have that freedom anyway because knitting is my hobby and not actually something that is controlled by, you know, someone else. But it is important for me to have some like rules in place so that I don't go crazy because, as you can see, there's a lot of yarn here. And yeah, I'm also really excited for the shawl along. I hope everyone is getting excited for that. I am going to use some hand spun actually when I knit my shawl. But I just finished up a big spin of a 3-ply of 3 completely different colors of fiber, 3 completely different breeds of fiber. Actually, there's 4 because one of the bobbins ran out and I had to make some more with the similar color that was a different breed, which is this one. Fudged it. It worked. It's fine. It's totally fine. This one's just a little more bright in the pink department, but that's fine. It totally worked. I'm excited. Yeah, I think I'm gonna knit the Traveler Shawl by Andrea Mowry. So if you're not sure what to comment and you want to leave a comment so you're in the running to win a prize, or maybe tell us a shawl pattern that you're excited about, even if you're not gonna knit along with us this spring. But yeah, it was so nice to drop in and say hi. And I hope that everyone is having a great March. So we'll see you next time. Bye.
And again, we hope that you enjoyed Emma's piece. I will be watching it ourselves in the fullness of time when the whole thing's ready. Yeah, I didn't get to this weekend, did you?
I did not.
Yeah, but that's okay because I'm sure it's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching. I always love watching their segments.
Yeah, for sure. And we still have my interview with Mary Jean to come, and we still have yoga with Kim. So stay tuned for that.
Yes.
We also have to announce another winner as well, which we can do in a moment.
Yes.
We wanted to just continue talking about the upcoming KAL though. So we are asking that people sign up for the KAL, and when you do, you get a PDF that is our Woolly Thistle guide to shawl knitting, which a lot of effort went into that, and I think you'll enjoy having that. There's also a discount on our HAPS exploration video as well, which is my interview with many HAP people, people who've designed HAPs or done histories of HAPs, that sort of thing. It's a fascinating watch. So there's a discount on that, which you get when you sign up if you would like to partake in that. So
sign up is free. You can find it on our website. We'll put a link in our show notes. That'll take you right there.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so what do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about anything in the shop right now? Or...
Yes, we've got lots of really good things
stuff
that have landed in the shop recently.
Yes.
There's lots of good stuff in the shop.
But it is particularly good stuff.
Yeah, but some of the new things. Can we talk about this yarn?
Look at that. Can you see that?
This basket on my desk was the most tempting thing last week. So
squish.
This yarn. I've been waiting for this yarn to come back, as I'm sure many of you have been.
Yes.
And we are so glad that it is finally back.
Peace, fleece. Gorgeous.
So a piece fleece is spun at
Harrisville.
Designs.
So
And
woolen spun wool.
it is made with 75% Navajo Rambler and fine wool, domestic fine wool, and 25% mohair.
It's soft. It's kind of pebbly feeling to me, which I love. And it is, what weight is it? Is it worsted weight?
So it's called worsted, and it says it's Aran weight.
Right, so 16 stitches per 4 inch on a US 8.
Yes.
Fast knitting, folks.
Yes.
Fast.
Yes.
Yes. Gorgeous. So, sorry, this is Father's Craig color.
This one is Amaranth.
I love that.
It's so good.
I also love this.
I love that color.
Lily Pad, great name for it. It's kind of a yellow.
Wouldn't that look good with this, like in
Yeah.
a yoke?
Yeah.
I love that. This one
exactly.
is Bonnie Blue Gap, which you can see is a really dark, like navy-ish or like grayish.
With all these multicolors through them.
So good.
Yeah, we've waited a long time for this to come back. I think they had all kinds of trouble with the dye house that was flooded and went out of business and all that kind of stuff. Negotiation grey.
Yes.
A light grey. I like it. Oh,
and
there's veg matter.
there is. It's so good. A nice warm brown chestnut.
Beautiful. Look at these three together. Very nice.
So
Go ahead.
good. Gonna be all right. It's a beautiful deep green with flecks, tweedy bits.
Yeah, almost a blue tone to it. This is Desert Tundra, which I like. Very nice with blues and sort of oranges through it. Yeah.
So this one is Poasha Hemlock. I don't know how to say that.
That's lovely. It's a very
so-
juicy green, isn't it?
Yes.
Gorgeous.
This would have been good for St. Patty's Day, huh?
Yeah, which was just yesterday.
Yeah.
We've got this nice purple, which is Myrrh Atlantis Periwinkle. Ooh, very fun.
Antarctic White.
Yep, good neutral. And then this is Latvian Lavender. Gorgeous. These two together.
I love this orange. Glass-nosed gold.
It's a foxy.
Yeah, so good.
And then Patience Blue, just a very inky, dark blue. It's looking a little bit lighter than in reality, I think.
And Shaba Green.
That would be good for St. Patty's Day.
Oh, so good. All of these.
And these are big. Are these 100 gram skeins? Or let's see, approximately 200 yards. So it's a 4 ounce skein. So it's about 113 grams. So you get a little bit more for your, you're getting 200 yards essentially.
Yes.
So Maggie, is there loads of patterns to knit with?
There's really good pattern support for Piece Fleece.
Yeah.
And we do have on the product page, we have a couple of just our current favorite patterns for this, but there's
Ravelry.
there are so many on Ravelry.
Yeah.
And I know there was just a hat pattern that was released that uses like one skein. If you want
Perfect.
to try it, do some swatching.
I think it's really nice and round. It'd be great with cables or texture. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Or
keep
just miles
picturing
of
this
stock in
as
it.
like I even think that this would be a wonderful like vanilla style sweater.
Oh, yeah.
that you just throw
Yeah,
on.
I was thinking that.
Especially for these tweedy ones
Yes.
where it just really highlights all the colors.
Yeah.
So good.
Yes, indeed.
Lovely.
Such a quick knit too. At that
Absolutely,
weight. When you're
yes.
used to knitting with fingering weight, that
Just
feels
fly off the
Whoa.
needles.
Yeah,
Yes.
fun. All right, what else do we want to show?
I think we also need to talk about Drover. So we've been hinting around and we've showed your Drover sock.
My little ankle socks. I just did a 3x1 rib with these.
They do smell really good.
ahead.
So Drover is from Daughter of a Shepherd.
In Yorkshire in England.
And there were 3 shades of Drover, and now Rachel has added to her line. She has added 2 lighter shades. So now you can get Drover in this beautiful gradient.
Yeah. Oh, it's
It's
lovely.
just so lovely.
Yes. And so you can do all kinds with it.
The dark one smells particularly
Oh,
cheapy.
Here.
I really like it. And the darkest one is called Warm Side.
And it's such a it's the Hebridean dark brown, which is beautiful.
Yes, they are all 90% British wool with 10% nylon.
Yeah.
And they do have Hebridean and Swartlace in them.
They do have a different hand as well. I think, what is she mixing her Hebridean with? Doesn't say.
Yeah.
But the light color is a little bit softer than the Hebridean, which would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I find the Hebridean...
It's not
really,
soft.
Yeah.
But I think between the two of them, it's lovely.
I mean, it's not merino, but...
Yeah, but feel this one.
Yeah. I don't know. I like them.
I like them too.
Then the next, just a shade up is Ingleborough.
Yeah. And then in the middle.
The middle shade is Pennygent.
Okay.
Pennygent.
They're all little mountains. Not little mountains. They're mountains in the area.
I'll let you say that one.
Dramaldres. I don't know. I've not climbed it. Which one is this? This is number 4 in lightness. Yeah.
And then the lightest is Buckton.
They've got a lovely sort of soft halo to them as well. Beautiful. These are spun at John Arbon. And he does a great job. Do we know how many plies?
I think it's a 3-ply.
Wow.
If I had to guess, I would say it's a 3-ply.
Awesome. Just trying to pick this apart. Yeah, you're right. It's a 3-ply. So,
I mean, I'd be surprised if you'd build a sock yarn with only 2 plies.
Correct, but I just confirmed it. So, I deal in facts, lady.
There you go.
But yes, so I think very small needles to get that nice tight, marrying of stitches so that it's nice and strong on your feet. But yeah, so I think I knitted mine in this one here, which is the Ingleborough. Oh my gosh, I'm saying that American. Ingleborough, I think, which is this nice sort of mid color. Yes, I can't wait. I've never worn these. I actually forgot I knitted these.
I know. I asked her last week and she's like, I don't know where they went.
And I thought it was one. I thought I only knitted one, and it turns out I knitted 2.
Yeah, so you started your Monday great, realizing that you've got to finish there.
Yes, woohoo! Yes, so I will be wearing these soon. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm really tempted to make these my April socks because they're so nice. But
yes, gorgeous, gorgeous. That would be nice, Maggie.
That would
pair of
be
socks
nice.
with those.
Yes.
And you could do a little bit of color work with those too, with the different colors.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
So those are in the shop now, and with that did come a little restock of. We left it in the bag because this yarn is so sheepy.
We love sheepy smelling yarn.
So this is Daughter of a Shepherd's Heritage 4-ply. And that is done with 75% Hebridean and 25% Swartlace. I know, right?
Inhale deeply. It's so good. This was her first ever yarn. She launched this in 2016, and I remember going to my first Edinburgh Yarn Festival. It was her first vending there, and there was a limit of 2 skeins per person. And as a podcaster, I got to go in a little bit early, and I made a beeline for her, and I'm like, I want that.
Yeah.
And I still have my original skeins because they're just so special. But that she's still making it is brilliant, and isn't it good?
It is.
It's
it is
soft,
so good,
and it smells delicious.
It's so nice.
Takes you right to the farm, and it's not that barnyard smell. It's a sheepy smell.
No, it's a very clean sheepy smell.
Yeah, it's lovely.
But if you're a fan of the way wool smells, like.
And her labels are really good, full of information. It tells you here, from the north of England, yarn from Hebridean sheep, summer 2019 is this one, which is great.
Yeah.
And 100% wool, 75% Hebridean, 25% Swartlace, 4-ply fingering weight, 400 meters or 437 yards per 100 grams.
It's pretty generous.
It's a I think it's a fairly standard 100 grams yardage, but it's lovely, and it's got a really nice halo to it.
It does.
So we just got a little bit of this in.
We did.
Yes.
And it's
All
in the
4-ply.
shop now. All 4-ply, yeah.
Great.
We did, there were a few years ago, you did an interview with Rachel.
Yeah.
And if you want to learn a little bit more about Rachel, the owner of Daughter of a Shepherd, and her story, you can look in our show notes and click through there.
And it might even be on the Daughter of a Shepherd page as well. There might be a clip as well that will get you there. I'm not sure. But yes, good smelling, very nice feeling, and such a good story behind it.
It is.
100% from Yorkshire, spun.
Yes.
Well, it's spun by John Arvin.
So I'm tempted for the Shawl KAL to actually knit with this.
Ooh.
There is in Kate Davies' Davar book, which I have right here. Davar, we have copies of this in the shop. There is this really beautiful shawl, which is color work, but she also shows it knit with one solid color.
I love Kate Davies books.
I love Kate Davies. So here, it's this one. So I'm thinking of using the Daughter of a Shepherd.
Yeah.
And then finding a different contrast yarn.
Ooh. Let me have a wee look. See, this is pretty.
It is so pretty.
Lace weight with a little bit of striping through it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So nice.
Really nice.
Lacy, but it looks
I feel
repetitive.
like that for me, but it feels complicated.
No, it's fine. It'll be fine.
It's beautiful.
It'll now be a disaster, but no, I think it'll be fine.
You'll be good. You'll be good.
So I think that's what I'm knitting.
Yeah, yeah, lovely. I haven't decided yet. I still have to finish my hat from last year, and I might just pick that up and keep going. I'm not in the running for prizes, so maybe that's what I get to do.
And last year during the Shawl KAL, you were working on a full size, the large full size hat,
and I'm on the border, so they're very long and very very lovely though. Yeah, it'd be nice to get that finished. It's been sitting patiently waiting in time out, so I think I might be doing that. Or I would recommend the Haligarth shawl. I loved this. I loved knitting this. All the lace, which I always feel nervous about, but actually I'm gaining confidence.
I don't think this would be any harder than that.
I think adding the color work is sort of blowing my mind, maybe. I don't know. The stripes.
Well, because I think it's just stripe. You're just switching from the stripe.
But I loved knitting this. This was really potato chippy and went very quickly, and it's 3 full skeins of Rambler.
Yes, but really squishy.
Really nice. Yes, really, really nice. All right. So we've got a new book bundle to show you, and then we're going to go to Mary Jean and talk about her exciting project that she's got going on. But first, let's look at this. I haven't seen this yet.
Oh, good. Here.
Ooh. Oh, this looks good. All right. So for those of you who know, every once in a while we do a very special book bundle where we find perfect books that we know you're going to enjoy reading, and we match it with yarn. And so in this book bundle, Maggie, do you want to talk about the books? Or yes,
sure. So
it's hard to hold up.
So it is hard to hold up. So the books included in this book bundle, I'm really very excited about. They are by the lovely Anne Cleves,
who wrote Shetland.
Who wrote the Shetland series. This has a different detective. His name is Matthew Venn. And these are the first 2 books in the series.
And it's based in?
It's based in Devon.
In Devon?
North Devon.
Which is where John Arvin is too. So we've got these 2 great books. I actually think The Long Call was made into a TV show.
Oh, okay.
But, read the book.
I didn't realize that. I did read the book.
Did you? Did you like it?
It was good. I liked it.
Yeah. I love Anne Cleves. She's such a page turner.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you get both of these books,
yes,
which is lovely.
And then you get 2 stickers.
Hooray.
Hooray.
Put on your water bottle and your laptop.
You get a fun little stitch marker, which is in transit, so it'll be in here. It's amazing. And then you get these very fun wooden postcards from the Wooden Postcard Company. And one features the landscape of Devon.
Gorgeous.
And then the other has this beautiful knitter photo on it. And these are really fun.
Yeah.
So you could just save it as artwork for your crafty space or your home, or you could actually mail it as a postcard.
They will.
I think that you could mail it as a postcard. Yeah.
Well, I think these are really sweet. I love the colors. It's like they're hand painted almost.
I think they're beautiful.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
Let me see that. Yes, I like that. All right, so you get all this and yarn.
The yarn included in this beautiful box is 2 skeins of Appledore from John Arvin.
One of his best-selling yarns. Yes.
Yes.
So 2 skeins.
Yes, and we put them in
Fantastic.
coordinating colors, so you get a choice of which colors that you would like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And yeah.
Let's have a look. So Appledore DK from John Arbin is lovely. Let's see what they say about it. 40% Devon close wool, 40% Romney, and 20% Exmoor Blueface. And you get, it's in meters, but it's 250 meters per 100 gram skein. So it's a nice DK weight and very drapey.
Yeah.
So great for shawl knitting, which is very timely actually. So yes.
She's really wonderful.
Do we have the colors to show folks?
I have the colors to show folks here.
So this is a lot. And you get a bag.
And you get a tote.
Yes. You get the Woolly Thistle tote in here.
So that was one color combination.
Yeah.
Another color combination is, sorry, trying to make sure the labels, you can read them, are Dufflin, which is on the bottom, and with Yeovil Sour.
Nice blue. Oh yeah, really. Gosh,
I
wow.
really like that. Their colors have so much depth to them. So we have Spicy Pippin and Foxwhelp.
Very nice.
So nice. Quench and Ellis Bitter.
I love them.
Do you want to hold those?
Yeah. So many colors. It's the way they do it.
It really is. And then we've got Sheep's Nose and Pig Snout.
Perfect. Perfect.
So good.
Very nice. So yes, you get your choice of any of these 1, 2, 3, 5 different combinations. So this will be available today. We're not sure what time. We'll put it here though. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah.
Do whatever the screen says.
Don't listen to us. Well, that's great. It's been a long time since we had a book bundle, and they always do really well.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to have them back.
It is.
Yes, yes,
So we hope you enjoy.
for sure.
In case people will ask, sometimes we're really bad about this. So on this particular bouncer, you will see the Hansel hap.
Yes.
This is the full-size hap.
Yep.
And
She's wearing a Woolly
Do you
Thistle
want to tell them
t-shirt.
what a hap is? We always get the
Yes,
what's a hap
a
question.
hap is a Shetland word. It's a Shetland dialect word, and it means kind of like a hug. And it's for the old style shawls that you'd wear around your back and pull close. And so they're often a triangle or a full square shape, and then you double them over on the long end like a triangle. Yeah. So we love haps here, and we have several yarn sets or yarns available for hat patterns.
Yeah.
And then of course we more broadly speaking, talk about shawls where you can have crescent shapes, pie shawls, triangular shawls, stoles, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And over on this lovely gal is the Fan Touche shawl.
Knitted by your sister.
Knitted by my sister in Jagger Spun in the Faded Rose colorway.
Yeah.
And this is a Kate Davies pattern.
Yes, and it's very beautiful. And that actually is a hap as well.
Yes.
I think it was
Yeah, I think it was in her book of haps.
yeah, in her book of haps. Right.
Do we have another winner today?
We have to announce the winner. Then we'll go and watch our interview with Mary Jean, which I hope you enjoy. And then from there we'll go to Kim and finish off this wonderful episode with some yoga. Doesn't that sound good?
It does sound very good.
Yeah.
So our second winner today is at Linda Rogers 3608, and Linda says, "I'm mostly a superwash merino kind of gal.
Here we
but
go.
You guys made me want to dip into woolly wool, starting with Biches Bûches in a beautiful dark blue with turquoise flecks."
Fantastic.
I was not disappointed.
Fantastic.
That gorgeous yarn made a gorgeous Felix pullover. Thank you. You are so welcome.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. I love to hear that.
That is brilliant. Linda, if you want to email us at info@thewoollythistle, put prize winner in all caps. We will get you your $25 gift card to the Woolly Thistle.
I wonder what your next woolly purchase will be with that, given the journey you're now on. That's
Yes.
exciting.
If you need any help deciding,
Yeah.
just ask us when you email us, and we'll be happy to make some suggestions.
For sure, for sure. Well, thank you for entering. And if you would like to be in the running for a $25 gift card to the Woolly Thistle, just leave a comment below. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. The more people that interact and leave comments and subscribe, the further our reach becomes on YouTube, and we want everyone to know how much we love woolly wool here.
Yes.
So thank you for your help with that, and congratulations, Linda. That's great. So shall we now go to my interview, my chitty chat?
Yeah.
With Mary Jean. Mary Jean is great. She has been making yarn for years at her Battenkill mill in upstate New York. She's a fascinating character, and also she has this not overly new venture, but she's been able to give it some more time because she has partners now in the mill, in the form of a young couple who have worked at the mill for a long time, and now they are partnering with Mary Jean, and Mary Jean is moving into her travel phase of her business, which is just really interesting. So enjoy this. Hello everyone, I'm here with the wonderful Mary Jean Packer of Battenkill Fiber Mill. I'm having trouble getting all that out, but thank you so much for being with us, Mary Jean. It's really great to have you on the Shopcast. I don't think we've ever had you on here before, is that right?
That's right. And I'm just delighted to be here.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we have lots to talk about. For those of you that don't know, Mary Jean is the spinner of our own Rambler yarn. And so we've got lots to talk about that. And also, Mary Jean, you have another business, another string to your bow, which is Battenkill Textile Tours, correct?
That's right. Yes.
So we want to get talking about all your trips that are coming up too, and how people can find out more. So we'll get to that as well. So yeah, lots of fun things to talk about. First of all, though, I can't help but notice your beautiful sweater that you're wearing. Can you tell us some details about that?
Well, this sweater is how I actually met you all at the Woolly Thistle. In addition to being a mill owner, I'm a lifelong and avid knitter, especially fond of color work and especially fond of all things Marie Wallen. So I found this amazing pattern by Knitting for Breakfast, which are two sisters who live in northern Italy, Alicia and Fabia.
Mm-hmm.
And the name of the pattern is Miele, Miele, which is Italian for honey.
Yep.
So anyhow, I saw the pattern. I knew I wanted to knit something in it, and I'd knit several other things in Marie Wallen, and I decided it would be perfect, but I didn't know what colors. So in the past, when a Marie Wallen book came out, I bought the book from you, bought the yarn from you, and I knit the thing.
Yeah.
But this time it wasn't a Marie Wallen pattern, so I wasn't quite sure on my colors.
Right.
And so I sent an email to you all to say, this is what I want to make, and I want to make it with a purple background. Can you now help me with the other colors? Yeah. And Maggie, who this is how I met her, said, well, I think these and these would be perfect. And so here they are.
Just lovely.
But along the way, what happened is, you know how you have a signature block and you don't change it to Mary Jean, grandma, mom, and knitter. You just leave it as Mary Jean, mill owner. Yeah. And Aggie couldn't help but notice that and said, oh, you own Battenkill Fibers?
We've heard of you.
And that was how the door opened for the conversation on could we help make you all your own branded sock yarn.
Exactly. And great things have come from that, which is just fun and wonderful. You can see that we have the fruits of our labor right here behind us. So yeah, I'm so glad that you were a customer of the Woolly Thistle first, though. That's lovely to know, and that you were reaching out to us to get information and advice on colors and things. We do that day in, day out, and we're happy to do that. It's what a yarn store does after all. So I'm glad we were able to help you, and your sweater is just lovely. Very beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's got short sleeves, so
better.
I can't wear it in the middle of winter. I guess you could over top of a long sleeve, like a white blouse would be cute. But this weather, spring is just, it's perfect time of year for an elbow length sweater.
Yeah. And we just had snow again when the clocks changed. First snow in a long time. It's been feeling like spring, and now it's feeling like winter, but there is blue skies today. I don't know how it is with you in upstate New York right now.
Below freezing at night and nice warm days, which is perfect for making maple syrup.
Yeah.
So we're right in the heart of maple country and right in the heart of maple season.
Yeah, that's the same here too. We have lots of that going on here in Vermont and New Hampshire as well. So, so how did we decide on Rambler yarn? Can we talk a little bit about how the yarn came to be and how working together got us there? Because we knew we wanted a sock yarn and we wanted it to be 100% wool. And talking to you, you had some recommendations.
How did we come to make Rambler? And we weren't really sure what to start with, but you knew you didn't want to use superwash. So
Correct.
as a result, we recommended a breed of sheep called Dorset,
Yeah.
which is known for not felting when it's washed.
Mhm.
You know, it'll still, you have to be careful, but it's a lot sturdier
Right.
than, let's say, merino.
Right, exactly. It's not prone to felting. I mean, I'm sure you could felt any wool if you really tried, but it's not prone to it. And it's not soft like merino. It's more hardy, I think, and a little bit more
Oh, yeah.
crisp as well.
And then we didn't want to use any nylon. So
Right.
first we didn't want to use superwash. So we said, let's go with Dorset. Then we didn't want to use nylon. And that nylon is to keep your toes and your heels from wearing out. And
Mhm.
so what we did to replace the nylon was we said, let's use some long wool. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's called strong wool even. And it's a coarser wool. And in this case, we used some Romney, which is a very common sheep in this part of the world.
Right.
And we can get some really beautiful Romney. And then in like a moment of inspiration, we said, well, why don't we use some white Romney or Corriedale, whatever we got that's strong like that.
Yeah.
And then why don't we also use some of it that's gray?
Yes, that's right. To give us that little bit of heathered look.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the heathering is really like, there's it undyed now.
Yeah.
And I mean, that by itself, I've seen a couple of the patterns people have done with that plus a
Oh,
color.
well, yes, this is probably the best selling of all the colors that we have right now because it gets used with everything. If you're using it in color work, you
Right.
want this. So yeah, this is doing well for sure. So yeah, that's right. So it's a Dorset Romney Corriedale blend with predominantly Dorset for the strength and then how is it constructed, Mary Jean? Talk to us about the plies and also the spinning method that you do at Battenkill.
All good questions, and thanks for reminding me about that. So one reason that it's bearable as a coarser wool is that it's combed into alignment. We spin on what they call the worsted system. That doesn't mean we can only make worsted weight yarn. It's just called worsted spinning.
Right.
And that means if we were full on worsted, that we would put all our materials through a comb top machine.
Mhm.
And semi-worsted, which is what we are, means we don't make our own comb top. Sometimes we blend merino comb top with a project, but what it means is we card it, condense it, and pin draft it or comb it with the pins in the pin drafter, semi-worsted. And that's what's keeping the Romney, the Corriedale, and the Dorset. One, that's what's blending them so nicely together. But two, that's what's keeping that pretty soft. Because
Mhm.
there's no loose ends, stragglers that are scratching at you.
Right.
They've all been combed into alignment.
Which I think gives it more drape as well, because this is a shawl that I knit. It's the Halligarth shawl by Gudrun Johnston. I knit this in Rambler and it's got beautiful drape in it.
I
So I
see
think,
that.
yeah, so I think the prep of this really does lend itself, you know, if you get the right gauge, you don't want to knit something too tight because anything knitted more tightly has less drape, but you can certainly achieve drape with Rambler the way it's made. Yeah.
Oh, I agree for sure. But on the other hand, you can also achieve a firm sock
Mm-hmm.
on Rambler the way it's made. by just going down a couple of needle
Yeah.
sizes.
For sure. So this is a sample of a sock. This is the Agatha sock, and it's just beautiful. I think this is knitted on a US 1 or 1.5. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's got lovely definition, I think, in the texture. And also it's going to wear well across the heel and the toes, especially for 100% wool sock.
Right.
Now,
And I think the big thing is with sock knitters, especially with no nylon, is you gotta be willing to get onto a pretty tiny needle.
yeah,
If you're willing to get on a 0 or a 1 and really go for 7 to 8 stitches to inch,
yeah,
you're gonna make a sock that'll last you as long as a store-bought sock, as long as a sock with nylon in it.
yeah. And another thing that we did with this yarn is it's 3 plies, and it's got quite a high twist, which I think also lends itself to that construction being more strong than less.
And I think it would work great on a home knitting machine
Mm,
or even home weavers
yeah,
wanting to make table runners and accessories.
yeah,
If you, just like we talked about with knitting, if you set it too tight, you're not going to get a very nice drapey scarf out of it. But if you wanted a firm table runner, I do think it would set
yeah.
and make a nice
I think
rigid
that's
hem
gorgeous.
project.
Yeah, that would be lovely. I actually did a weaving course at Harrisville last year, and got very excited, but have not done any. It's just so much easier to get my knitting out and just knit than sit at the loom. But one of these days I'll get there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had a Harrisville easy weaver, and as far as I was concerned, there was nothing easy about it. And I went to see my daughter in Boulder, and we went into her LYS, and they had all these cool weaving things, including looms, tabletop rigid heddle. And
Mhm.
she said, "Oh, I want one of these." I said, "You do?"
I love
So I
it.
got off cheap on that one. I just sent her what I had, and she's doing great with it.
Really? So she's kept with it and is doing that.
Well,
That's
she's a hand spinner,
yeah.
and so she's buying commercial warp and
Yeah.
then filling the weft with her
Lovely with a hand
handspun.
spun. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good way to use it, Can't knit it fast enough. So, Mary Jean, tell us about where you're sourcing the wool that goes into Rambler for us, because I think folks would love to know more about that.
And that's really an important part of not just your yarn, but all the yarn we make at Battenkill Fibers. That was our founding premise in 2009. Hard to believe it's been 15 years, isn't
Right,
it?
that's crazy.
But that was the founding premise, and it's as strong today as ever. It's just that our what equals local wool has had to expand a little as our business has grown because there's not enough sheep
Right.
in Washington County or in the Hudson Valley or in New York and Vermont. So it just keeps
Spreading a little. Yeah.
spreading and spreading. But in your case, I actually do think all the wool in Rambler is from New England or New York.
Yeah.
And because those are breeds that are very common
Yeah.
in our area. And that's one of the other beautiful things about your investment in Rambler and the reaction of your customers to
Mm.
Rambler. We were honored to have you and your Rambler in our booth in Rhinebeck.
We were honored to be in your
fall.
booth in Rhinebeck. It was so fun.
Well, people came into the booth specifically looking for that, and what they kept saying is um, how happy they were to find something with all the support of a big brand
Yeah.
like the Woolly Thistle, but made locally.
Yeah.
They knew with confidence that they could trust us to source it locally, to not add a bunch of stuff to it that could hurt them or their kids.
Right.
So there was this local, but on the other hand, you weren't going to run out if you needed one more skein.
Exactly. Yeah.
You'd be there for them. It wasn't some, and I mean, we work with a lot of lovely indie dyers. And what I tell people is if you see something they have that you want, buy it all.
Yeah, buy as much as you can because you won't get it again. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a time and a place for those very special yarns. I'm not trying to discredit for a minute our customers who are indie dyers, but having, if you're going to make a big project, it really gives you the peace of mind to know if you need one more skein
Yeah.
that you and your team are there for them
Yeah.
at any time.
Yeah, and we're trying to stock Rambler so that there is always Rambler on the shelf, that it's not a unicorn. It's a very special yarn, but we want to make it available for those knitters that need to come back for that extra skein, you know, because we're doing big dye lots. So hopefully we would still have the dye lot that you purchased if that was a problem. But yeah, we just want to have it on the shelf and have it available to people and have designers designing with it and people knitting it and showing it on their Ravelry pages, and just get the word out that we have this lovely yarn that's here to stay. And I think too, you know, the Dorset and the Romney are both British breeds originally that came over here. That's fair to say, isn't it?
Correct, yes.
And I feel very sort of akin to that myself, being from Scotland and setting root here. You know, I'm a transplant. These sheep breeds are transplants, and it makes sense to me that, you know, we're making a yarn locally here in the area where I live and where you are. But that it sort of has a throwback to those heritage breeds from the old country, which is really nice. It's a way of moving things forward in a nice sort of up-to-date way, I think.
I really can't think of a nicer first yarn for us for all those exact reasons, the connection to the UK
Yeah.
heritage. As you mentioned at the beginning, I lead groups of knitters to other parts of the world.
Yes.
Used to be once a year, and after Tim and Angie became my business partners at the mill, so they each own a third of the mill and I own a third, they're able to take on a few more of the responsibilities that were used to be all mine. And in my newfound time, I've increased the number of trips to the rest of the world from 1 every other year to 3 a year.
That's fabulous. So, well, first of all, congratulations on your reorganization there and getting some new blood. I think they had worked for you for quite a long time. So
Yeah.
we all know each other very well, and the mill is in good hands. But it's so nice that you can sort of free up and start traveling, which is such a fun thing with a group of avid knitters like yourself, I'm sure. So tell us, what are your trips this year? What's the plan?
Well, I got to this before I tell you. Let
Yeah.
me just say that Scotland has been one of my group's favorite destinations, and we have been on 3 occasions.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yes, it's our most frequently visited place.
Is it,
We
do you go up to Shetland, or is it on Scotland mainland? What do you do?
One time we went to Shetland.
Yeah.
One time we went to mainly the lowlands,
Yeah.
like Glasgow, Edinburgh. We never went further north than that. And on our last trip, we went to the Hebrides.
Oh, brilliant. Oh my goodness. That's
Yes, we went to Harris Tweed and well, the mill, of course, that spins the yarn, and learned all about the cottage weaving industry.
yes.
And when people go to my website, which is Battenkill Textile Tours, the first picture you see at Battenkill Textile Tours is the weaving cottage of one of Harris Tweed's better known weavers, Donald John Mackey,
Wow.
who had invited us into his cottage. It's not very big.
Yeah.
And it was just fascinating.
That's lovely. That's fantastic. You've got me all a jitter now, so we'll need to plan a trip to Scotland. But let's get back to what you are doing this year, because
Yeah.
I think Scotland's in the mix this year.
No, no, not this year. Something Nova Scotia, though, New
Oh,
Scotland is
yes,
in the
yes.
mix. And that'll be our first stop this year. We're meeting up in Prince Edward Island actually on June 13th.
Yeah,
And then we'll travel from PEI through Nova Scotia, and the trip ends in Halifax after spending a day with the designer Lucy Neatby
great.
on island right outside of Halifax.
Oh, wow, that sounds really great. And in June, so it'll be lovely up there.
Yes, June
How long?
13th to 22nd.
Okay, so it's a 10-day sort of trip, sort of length.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
great. Do you have people signed up already, or have these just opened up, or where are
They
you?
did just open up, but I also have people signed up.
Okay,
Um,
so it,
So there's definitely room on all three trips,
right,
but limited on a couple. But Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, we still have plenty of room. The problem with that one is the deadline is coming up.
right.
So April 10th,
Oh,
if you're thinking of coming on that one, we do need a sign up by April 10th. I can offer extended payment because I know it's a lot to say, oh, I got to pay right now. But
yeah,
you can sign up and pay something on the 10th of April and something on the 10th of May and the balance on the 10th of June. And that's fine.
okay.
So we can
So
spread it out over 3 credit card bills.
tell us your philosophy about these travel trips. Are they packed? Are they jam-packed? Are you always busy doing stuff? Or do you factor in a lot of downtime and time for knitting and just, hanging out with your new friends? What's it like?
Funny you should mention that. My knitters, so there's some people that have been traveling with me ever since the first tour, which was almost 20 years ago. I used to own a yarn shop in Watkins Glen, New York, before I owned the mill. And
Amazing.
I had a long weekend knitting retreat in Watkins Glen. And about 20 people came. We got a small grant from the I Love New York people, and we advertised in Vogue Knitting and Interweave Knits. And people from all over the country came. They loved the Finger Lakes. They loved the itinerary I made. And they said, well, you're really good at this. You ought to take us to Ireland. I said, oh, okay. So in 2007, we went to Ireland. And some of the people that went on that first trip to Ireland are still going on trips with me.
Amazing. So definitely people are enjoying them, that they're coming back again. That
Oh
sounds
gosh, yes. But they've also given me feedback, which is they want a little more time in the itinerary
yeah.
to sit in it and sit and visit.
Mhm.
And for example, we went to Estonia and Latvia last fall in November, and we actually um, stayed at a spa hotel right on the Baltic Sea in a small town called Parnu, not because there was much else in Parnu except for the Baltic Sea and the spa. So from there, you could go for walks on these beautiful trails along the sea.
Yeah.
You could stay in this very comfortable hotel and either knit by yourself in a nice quiet room or
Yeah.
sit in a beautiful, well-lit lobby,
Yeah.
or there were spa treatments that were just amazing. So we've definitely, and that was 2 half days of that we added to the itinerary. So
Right.
from here on out, we're adding spa days to most itineraries. The trip to the Maritimes, we're staying in a spa hotel in Wolfville
Uh-huh.
and adding 2 half days there for spa and for exploring. And then in Norway, which is one we want to make sure we go over in detail since
Yeah.
it's so much like the yarns that you have, what we'll be seeing.
Yeah.
But in Norway, where we're going September 26th, we'll be staying in a spa hotel for plenty of time for not only the spa services, but that hotel connects to several hiking trails
Uh,
through the West Coast region of Norway.
oh my goodness, just phenomenal and beautiful. So yes, let's talk about the Norway trip. That's in September. And
Yes, September 26th, we start in Oslo.
mhm.
And one thing I want to point out is usually our trips involve a Sprinter van or a motor coach, depending on the group size. And we all hop in and we go places and move that way. We're going to try being in Oslo for 4 days.
Okay.
Without that, we're going to get a hop on, hop off pass to their metro. I
Yeah.
don't think it's called a metro, but there's their tram system.
Yeah.
And try to have a little lower impact on the environment than driving around Oslo in a motor coach.
I love that. And I tell you what else, I think people will be brave because they're in a group together or they're pairing off. And you just really experience the city that you're in so much more when you're using the public transport and jumping on and off and, using trams and undergrounds and all the local ways of getting around. You're with the locals. And I think that makes a huge difference to your experience of the place.
I do too. And as a result of this, let's keep it local, instead of having our knitting classes in our hotel, renting a meeting room that when you're inside because we try to stay at pretty nice hotels, because that's the one thing that our travelers kind of demand, nice soft sheets and private bathrooms. And this is definitely comfortable travel.
Okay.
Anyhow, why rent a meeting room though in this comfortable sleeping place?
Yeah.
And so rented a community center in like an Oslo suburb, and we're having an indie dyer pop-up is coming out to the community center. We're having some meals brought in from the local
I love
caterer.
that.
And then we're having a class out there with a gal named Thistle that was recommended to us. She does embroidery on knitting. You'll
Oh my gosh.
have to look her up. Her website is just so inspiring. I can't wait.
We will get that and we'll put it in a caption here so folks can look her up. So she's actually going to be teaching a class.
Yes.
This trip.
Yeah.
And you're taking over a facility and basically having food brought in and knitting and hanging out and a pop-up and shopping. That sounds amazing.
Yes.
That sounds great. All in Oslo or in the environment.
All right in Oslo, yeah. Now we have a local guide for the whole Norway trip who's been with us on 4 trips. He is an American who lives in Oslo.
Right.
And we met in our first trip to Norway in 2017.
Yeah.
And then he went with us to Denmark, and he went with us to Estonia and Latvia. And now he's helping us again in Norway.
Brilliant. So you've got a native speaker and you've got someone who knows all the places, which is again so important for getting a real feel for where you are when you're abroad. I think people are much more traveled now than they used to be, and it's not such a big thing to actually, go and visit somewhere. But I think the thing that makes it really special and memorable is when you feel like you're part of what's happening there, rather than just sort of landing, seeing some stuff maybe from a coach and then leaving again. It's much more, it sounds like it's going to be more immersion, and you've got some insider knowledge showing you the way as well, which is awesome.
That's really the what sets our trips apart. And it may be because in my other life, what I did before this, I worked in nature tourism on the other end of things. I managed the National Watchable Wildlife Program for the U.S. Forest Service.
Wow.
And I traveled all over the United States visiting sites where people go to view wildlife. And then later I worked for a nature tourism consultancy that was based in Texas, but I was responsible for definitely everything this side of the Mississippi in developing interpretive stories for public lands mainly. And so that background, what we really seek is authentic experience.
Right.
When we were in Estonia last year, we learned to embroider on Muhu Island from the ladies of Muhu Island. They even made us their sandwiches. Like how when we're going to the Maritimes, Lucy Neatby, we're going to her island. She's not coming to our hotel.
Right.
We're going to her island, and her girlfriends are making us hand-pick lobster roll for lunch.
Gosh, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. So, okay, so you've got the Maritimes, the Canadian Maritimes, then Norway. And where will you be going outside of Oslo in Norway? Are you going?
Oh, that's right. We're going to take the train
Mhm,
over to Bergen.
gorgeous.
So again, trying to not use the bus and the pollution.
Mhm.
So, and the train is absolutely beautiful.
And a great way to travel, yeah.
Yes. So the whole group we'll sit together. We have reserved seating, and so we'll travel together, but we'll be using the train instead of a coach. And then one of the things we're going to do in the Bergen area that I'm excited about is the Hardanger Folk Museum.
Okay.
And I've never been there. It's on the Hardanger Fjord in the village of Utna. I hope anybody who really knows how to say these things probably
It sounds great to
laughing.
me. You're saying it perfectly as far as I could tell.
And at the museum, they have one of the best known bunad collections in Norway. That's the the traditional costume that
Yes.
people, their Norwegian outfits. And
Yeah.
so we'll be able to see that and also take a class in making mittens using the twining technique.
Ooh,
So they'll give us the
fascinating.
kit we need for twining knitting.
Yeah, fascinating. That sounds
Yeah, so
great.
we seek this stuff out, and it's things that somebody traveling alone couldn't get this same experience.
Exactly. Exactly. And also, you're going to make new friends, and you're all going to be speaking that same love of that same language of wool love, yarn love, knitting love, textile fibers, all of it. It's like a shorthand between friends, isn't it? It all just
And
flow.
we're immediate friends
Yeah,
too. That's what's really funny, whether it's somebody who's been on 5 or 6 trips or someone for whom this is their first time traveling with our group. Boom, immediate friends. A funny story last year, a gal named Susan, who's a friend of a friend, knew about the trip and came with her friend.
yeah,
And we get that a lot. Sisters, daughters, friends of
yeah.
travelers. But she and several other people hit it off, and somebody mentioned because she really hit it off with a gal named Cindy from New Hampshire, and somebody said to me, "Oh, isn't it nice that Cindy brought her friend Susan?" And I said, "Well, actually, it's somebody else who's Susan's original friend, but since they've hit it off, they were doing a lot of things together, and."
Yeah.
uh,
I think that's a great thing to point out, that you can go on these things as an individual and be part of the group. It's not that I mean, do you have that happen a lot where people are coming on their own? Or is it?
Solo travelers,
Yeah,
about a good half, I think, are
great.
not coming with a friend.
That's
A
great.
lot of times they do ask for a private room just
Yeah,
so they have a little
yeah.
downtime. But I do my best on my roommate pairings, and I've found some great partners over the years who have gone on to keep in touch even without the tours.
Exactly. Exactly. Because it's such an experience that you spend so much time with someone, you'd want to keep in touch if you get along, for sure. But that's great to know that people should not feel discouraged if they're traveling on their own, that this is a great way to travel because you're going to be part of a group and make friends along the way. Or you can keep
It's kind
chatting.
of the best of both worlds. If you've ever thought about going to Norway and would love to go to Norway, but you don't know anybody in your knitting group who wants to go to
Yeah,
Norway, you could say, "Why don't we go to Norway?" And nobody says, "Yeah, yeah, let's go." Well,
yeah,
then you want to go, but you aren't quite sure about just spending 10 days alone in Norway, one, and two, you want to really have an authentic experience, and you can't just get
yeah,
that with your guidebook in hand.
right, right. Yeah,
Then this is perfect.
yeah, yeah.
Because you have to still have some adventures, like getting yourself to Oslo,
And is
getting
that
yourself home.
is that how it works? Everybody's responsible for getting themselves to the starting point?
Yes,
Yes,
because we're from all over,
yeah,
it would be too tricky to
yeah,
try to all fly together.
yeah,
Sometimes more and more. I mean, there was probably when we went into Tallinn in Estonia, I think a dozen of us got off the plane at the same time,
Yeah.
not because we'd all lifted off from the same airport, but by the time the plane from Amsterdam that flew to Tallinn only goes in twice a day.
Right.
So therefore, quite a few of us were on it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. So how many people do you like to have on your tours? You know, what's a good number?
Well, a lot depends on the trip, but that is a really good question because the other reason some people don't like group travel is it's so hectic and there's so many people.
Mhm.
So we really try to limit the size of the trip to be proportionate to the experience.
Right.
So our third trip, which we haven't talked about yet, is going to the Christmas markets in Germany on
Sounds
December 2nd.
wonderful. Yeah.
And now that one is a few less small group, authentic experiences. I mean, we're still having a nice knitting class at a behind the scenes tour at Woolmize
Mm,
and we're going to Shoppel
yeah.
and we're taking an embroidery Christmas card embroidery class
Oh, lovely.
right in Munich. The whole trip is centered in Bavaria in the southern part of Germany,
You
where the
don't,
Christmas markets are
yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah.
But the real focus is going to Christmas markets. We're going to the Munich and Nuremberg, the big ones. We're
Yeah.
going to the little ones out in the small villages.
Phenomenal.
And so that trip, I can take 30 on that if there's that kind of interest. And we're already, I think, at 22
Oh
or
my God.
23
All
for
right. So
that.
if folks are interested, they need to check you out right away.
That one, yeah, the Germany one. Norway, we definitely have more room on that. And one reason is that a lot of people, we've been to Norway once before.
Yeah.
And so some people who are trying to see the most possible countries
Yeah.
um, don't want to go back to Norway.
Done it.
Um, right. And that's why they're going to the Maritimes or to Germany. But we're still planning a go ahead on Norway, even with the 10 or 12 people that we have signed up
Yeah.
now. So not to worry, it's a go, but we'd love to get a few more people to join us, like you. You could, yes.
I know. I need to clear my schedule and come on with you. I think any of those three would be absolutely. I'd love to go up to the Canadian Maritimes again. I've been there years and years and years ago, and I would love to get back up there. And Norway, that's a no-brainer. I'd love to go to Norway. I've never been. And then the Christmas markets just sound so beautiful and lovely and magical even. Yeah. Yeah. Any
I've been to Christmas markets in the Czech Republic before. And I really enjoyed that experience. And if I hadn't been to a Christmas market, I'm not sure I would go again. But that time I went because my son was living in Prague teaching English as a second language. So
great.
I had just gone to see him, and it
Yeah.
happened to be right before Christmas. And
Yeah.
I got to experience Christmas markets. But for people who've never seen it, it's like these little wooden buildings get built on the sidewalks around these open squares, and it's just this little maze of things from kitschy, admittedly kitschy, to absolutely exquisite,
Right.
and
And
everything in between. Yummy little candies and candied things and
hot
popcorn, all the usual. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, I had a friend years and years ago who had a lot of beautiful Christmas decorations on her tree, and she'd gotten them at different Christmas markets when they lived in Germany at some point. And I've always kind of coveted that, like, I need to go, I want to go. So yeah, I think it's great that you're doing that. Do you have any plans for next year that you can talk about, or maybe not?
Yes, already,
Oh,
already.
really? So where are you
Yes.
up to next year?
Well, something that one of the girls who's traveled with me a lot is kind of my itinerary scout.
Yeah.
So she's fully retired and has time to really pour through destinations and find the best of the best
What
for
a
us.
fun job.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So my itinerary scout and I have for years been wanting to go to Barcelona Knits,
Oh,
which is the
yeah.
best yarn festival in Europe.
Yes. And it's in Barcelona. Yes. So
Yes,
is
so
that happening?
2025 is when we're going.
That sounds amazing. Well, when is that? What time of year is that at?
It's in the fall,
Yeah,
like deep
beautiful.
fall after Rhinebeck. So,
Okay.
of course, Rhinebeck is this issue for me. I can't
Yeah,
miss Rhinebeck. So
I'm
all the trips
sure. Right, the
have to
whole
be
run up to Rhine.
before or after. Yeah.
Yeah, you're busy. Yeah.
One
Well,
time I went on a trip to New Mexico where we didn't come home till like the Tuesday or Wednesday before the Rhinebeck start of the
did you
Friday or
learn your lesson?
my whole trip learned their lesson. They all knew everything. They'd heard me yelling on my cell phone.
I bet. That's
So
funny.
I did want to say a couple of more things about Norway.
Yeah.
That one of the days we're going to go to a yarn factory,
Mhm.
and everyone who travels with me knows that every trip is going to have a mill visit in
Of
it because
course.
I just love seeing how other people's yarn is made. So
Yeah.
we're headed to a woolen mill just north of Bergen. Um, so it's called Hillsbog.
Oh, I'm
It's
sure. Yes, folks will be interested in that for sure. Yeah.
And they have a great shop. It's certainly not Rauma, which I know you carry and that I
Yeah.
love too.
Yeah.
But Rauma is way north of, well, it's going to be like a 5-hour bus ride to get from
Yeah.
Berkeley to Rauma.
Right. So no, if you've got Hillsvag right there, go see that. That'll
Yep.
be great. They're a nice small family run little mill as well. So I think that would be fascinating to visit and see their process.
And we're going to have a class there because one of the things they do is sell dyed roving
Uh-huh.
to the hand felting industry. A
Interesting.
lot of times when you'll go even to a US shop and buy kits with 20 colors of dyed roving in it,
Yeah,
it's actually been produced at Hillsbog.
that's fascinating.
So anyhow, while we're at Hillsbog,
Yeah,
we're going to have a felting class,
right.
three-dimensional felting using all these materials. Because when you go to your average felting class, there's like 6 colors and you kind of make do with what they have.
Yeah.
But this is the entire rainbow of
Oh,
color.
wow. Oh, wow. That sounds like heaven. That sounds perfect.
And right on the edge of a fjord, they're bringing in lunch. And so people can felt and tour and wander. It's
Yeah,
going to be a really, really nice, special day.
yeah.
Just like the day before that, where we're going to my favorite stop, which is the Oleana factory.
Ah, all right.
And Oleana sweaters and garments and home decor. It's all just amazing. It is the best of Scandinavian design I've ever seen.
Oh, wow. So a good shop as well at the factory outlet type. Yeah.
Yes, a
Oh, wow.
very good shop. I wear my Oleana sweater. It was a real splurge because I bought knee length. And I wear it to a lot of really important meetings. I do a lot of work here in New York with the nonprofit Hudson Valley Textile Project, where
Yeah,
we're raising awareness about the farm to fabric fashion
yeah,
industry in the state. So I have to spend some time with the legislature.
right.
They have now funded a fashion innovation center at almost $9 million, which
Wow.
is fabulous investment by the state of New York
Yeah.
in helping the farm to market supply chain really thrive. But anyhow, I have to go to meetings with legislators, and that thing I bought at Oleana, that knee length, it's gray, black on gray with blue and green accents, and it's just so tailored and
Yeah.
so calm. But
Yeah.
they have some really beautiful stuff too, very, very bright things. It's
So pack a nice
beautiful.
bag in your luggage for bringing home some of your purchases, because why not? When you're there, just have a little splurge. That sounds fascinating and really lovely. Yeah. Oh, you're selling this, Mary Jean. I think everybody wants to go to Norway with you now.
Well, I want everyone to go to Norway with me.
Yeah,
Um, it it's really going to be a fun but relaxing. We've
yeah,
kept the agenda like the day we go to Oleana. That's the only thing we have on the agenda is
okay. Yeah,
factory tour. They have a little cafe there, so we'll have soup and bread.
Yeah.
and then shop,
Yeah.
and then back to our spa hotel.
Yeah.
Um,
And
we
everybody getting
can
knitting together and all of
you can have dinner in your yoga pants and flip-flops.
that. It sounds wonderful. And I love that you're doing this. And I love that, your life is starting to take on more travel because that's the dream. I think a lot of people dream of that. So well done. Congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you.
Ah,
Thank you.
do you have any other trips planned for next year? Because we only got as far as Barcelona.
Oh, yes, we're going to flying into Stockholm and spending some time on Gotland and
Oh,
then going over to Helsinki from there.
okay. So let's talk about Gotland and spending time there. When is this trip?
So we don't have the dates
Okay.
set
But it'll be
for
sometime next year.
it. Just next year, we're planning to go to Stockholm, Gotland, and Helsinki.
Amazing.
Sort of how we went to Tallinn and Latvia
Yeah.
the last year, a little more movement, um, and not so deep into any one place the way the Norway trip is. But it keeps it interesting to have sort of an overview of that part of Scandinavia.
It sure does. And I'm wondering if you would make it to Ullcentrum's place in Åland. I don't know where that is compared to Stockholm, though. But Ullcentrum would be a great place to visit if it was
I
possible.
could look that up. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
You could come with
I
us.
could come on all of them, definitely. So, but Gotland is actually an island, right? And it's
Yes.
medieval and it's got a medieval wall around it, or is that right?
It's like a walled city, only it's a
Ah,
walled island. And now it's sort of how Martha's Vineyard is to people from Boston,
yeah,
Gotland is to people from Stockholm.
gotcha. But just like a
So
fairy tale, I would say, just would be beautiful to visit and just take it all in. It's so different from anything we have here because it's so much older. Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah.
then we're also thinking of spring in Paris. Uh, and
Stop
this would
it.
be our first time where we ever really just picked a city and went there.
So this is your, oh gosh, I'm in trouble because you're talking to my love, my love. I love this city and going with a group of friends. There's lots of great knitting yarn shops there. There's great food. There's great things to see. There's great style. Oh, that would be wonderful. That would be so good. So you're going to go in the spring. That would be absolutely amazing too. I was there in April last year, actually, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So well done, you. That's exciting. So we need to get a Scotland trip on the map as well, I think, or on the plan, hey?
Yeah, yeah, we've been 3 times. The
Yeah,
fourth is no trouble. So
yeah.
we work with tour companies in
Yeah.
each country so that they find us a local guide. They arrange the bus or coach, and someone accompanies us, which is just worked out really well.
Okay, so
We
is
found
that,
a company
yeah, is the
that does
company,
Ireland and Scotland.
okay.
And so they're so good to work with that I could just call them up and at any time. Ever since our first trip to Ireland, they still use that itinerary in Ireland, by the way, that we invented with them. I said that would be fine with me. And they even take a booth at Vogue Knitting sometimes to
Really?
advertise their trips. Yeah, yeah.
Funny. Oh, this just sounds absolutely wonderful, Mary Jean. I hope lots of people watching this are inspired to check out your website and your dates and your places and see if they can get on one of your trips. I think that would be phenomenal. And if you do, let us know because that would be, I'd be very green with envy for sure. I don't think it's
Well, you,
I don't think it's in the cards for me just yet, but I can live in hope for sure of getting on one of these lovely knitting trips. I think that would be amazing.
well,
Yeah.
we go places that are pretty civilized. You never go very long without your
Yeah,
telephone and your Wi-Fi. So we
right.
do have quite a few of our travelers who are mid-career
And working.
working still. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right. So you probably do have a range of ages and but I would imagine a common thread is the knitting.
Yeah.
They're mostly knitters, would you say?
I think everyone has knitting as, if not their top craft, certainly one of their top few crafts.
Yeah.
And then they have all the other crafts on top of that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how I am with punch needle, and rug hooking, which is why if you look at the Maritimes itinerary, there is quite a lot of punch and hooking in it. But so everyone has a second and third. We
Yeah.
have also done a lot of embroidery,
Yeah.
not because any of us are that great at embroidery, but because embroidery is so much a part of these national cultures in the other countries. To experience it, you really end up.
Oh,
This one
lovely.
is just spectacular. That is embroidery.
Amazing. That's beautiful.
Look at
Amazing.
the shading in
Yeah,
that.
I know. Is it thread or is it wool?
Wool yarn, like
Oh,
floral
wow.
yarn.
Gorgeous. Amazing.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it really is.
So we try to take classes doing things that we've maybe not done at home.
Yeah.
These are different ways to make Latvian braids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Phenomenal.
just to learn new
Exactly.
things that you can't do in
Yeah.
the US.
Well, Mary Jean, thank you so much for your time today, sharing all these trips with us. I think you're going to have lots of people very interested, and also thank you for making our Rambler yarn for us too. We love that, and we hope that it continues to grow and that people enjoy knitting with it. But yeah, thanks for everything, and thanks for taking time to talk to me today. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, you're welcome and thank you. I love talking about making yarn also.
I'm sure we'll have you on again now that you've been on. It's been too long. So, yeah.
Yes, well, anytime. Maybe after our trips, I'll report back.
In between. That sounds good. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much and take good care. Speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed my interview with Mary Jean. I think she's onto something really good with that travel. Lots of wonderful places that you could be going with her, and do check out her website. And if you're at all in the market for some group travel, it sounds like a really fun thing. Now it's time to go to Kim and do some yoga. So we're going to say goodbye. And I think all that's left to say, Maggie, is if you go out,
Take your knitting.
bye.
Hi, Woolly Thistlers. It's Kim here with Yoga for Knitters, back with another episode just for you. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and Patreon if you would like more yoga and info. So today's class is all about taking a break, which is what we really need to do the most of when we knit or crochet or do any kind of crafty thing with our hands, because we tend to get in a funky shape and we're doing repetitive tasks. And both of those things can sometimes cause our energies to flow in the wrong direction. I know you didn't think I was going to say that, right? So today's class is all about getting our energies to flow again in the right direction so that after our break, we can get right back at it. Let's get started. So for today's class, we are going to sit on a chair, and if it's necessary for you, I'm short, so it's necessary for me, prop your feet up so that your legs aren't, at too much of a downward angle here at your hips. You want to be comfortable. So your knees are stacked over your ankles, your knees are out from your hips, your spine is stacked nice and straight up your back. And by straight, I mean anatomical, not like ramrod straight, but a nice curve where everything just stacks on top of the other. So from here, we are going to start by tapping. So start by taking your fingertips. I do this a lot in my facials, and it feels so good. So you just tap along the eyebrows, that brow bone, right where the eye socket hole is. Tap a little bit there. And then come down, and you're going to tap along the cheekbone. You see how everything just feels invigorated and awakened when you do this. Then come to tap or massage in the jaw, right in that muscle, that great big masseter muscle, your chewing muscle that gets so sore, especially if we clench
at night or clench when we're tight. We hold a lot of tension in our faces, so this is a good way to get rid of it. Next, you're going to find your clavicle, your collarbone here, and you're going to come all the way towards the middle until you feel where the bone ends, and there's this little like horseshoe dip. So right where the bone ends, come down about an inch and tap right there. That's called your K27, and it is part of the kidney meridian. And this, when it's aligned, when the energy here is aligned, that means you are more focused and more energized. It's important when you've got cable work to do, right? Or color work, something complicated. And you don't have to tap hard, just a nice light tap is enough. That'll do. And then you're going to come down, come to the middle where your sternum is, like where your rib cage comes together, and then down about 2 inches and tap there. That's the thymus. Same idea here. Going to realign our energy, give us more energy, make everything flow the way it should. Good. And then you're going to come to your nipples, come down underneath, feel the first rib, and then come down to the rib below that. So that not the first rib underneath where everything folds, but below, and then tap there. That's the spleen. If you have a wired bra, this isn't going to work very well. But if you've got a sports bra or no bra, even better, this will be great. Good thing to do in your pajamas. Maybe in bed before you get up. And this is going to boost your immune system. So even if you are sick, this is a great one to do. I'm sick, so I'm happy to be doing this one because I know that means I'll get better even faster. Okay, hands on your knees, just feel it. A few deep breaths. Feel the shift. What is your energy level like? Do you feel more abundant, more awake, more focused? You probably do. One more series of exercises. Bring your arms out to your sides. Oh, and as you do that, you're going to notice there is a requirement to steady yourself by tightening the core. And I don't mean like tightening the core. I mean like 10%, 20%, maybe 30% engagement as you move into these exercises, just to keep us from flopping all over the place. We want to stay stable in the core. Okay, so arms are out at your sides. You're going to roll the arms backwards as if you were tracing a tiny little golf ball. So just small little circles here. And while you're doing that, pay attention to the muscles in your neck. Are they creeping up? Are your shoulders creeping up towards your ears? Is your neck getting tight? I want you to relax the neck, relax the shoulders, and do all the work in your arms up to your deltoids. Leave this part out of it. Okay, we're going to make those circles a little bit bigger. So now we're tracing a baseball. Might be getting a little bit tired. That's a good thing, getting stronger. And then finally, you're going to trace a volleyball. Don't forget to breathe. Keep the core engaged. You're moving a little bit, but you're not flopping all over in your seat. And now we're going to turn this into a figure 8 with a hand flip. So you're going to flip up and down with the figure 8. And again, engage the core so that you can feel yourself stable here in your seat. Breathe. This feels so nice. We're strengthening the arms and we're strengthening the back, which is really important because when we do a lot of work in the front of our body, which is not just knitting or crocheting, this is also computing and driving and all the things that we do in our modern society, this is a great way to undo it. Strengthening those opposite muscles. All right, bring the elbows in at your sides and we're just going to rotate through the rotator cuff, in and out, as if you're holding a tray of goodies. Oh, maybe I'll have some. No, I won't have any. Oh, maybe I'd like to. No, I'm good. You know, Make a game of it. You don't have to be serious all the time, right? So just feeling those rotator cuffs moving. And you know what? Rotator cuff injuries are really common. I don't know too many people who get through life without something. And as we get older, our shoulders tend to get a little more sensitive. As in, like, sleeping starts to hurt. Well, this is one of those exercises that helps to undo that. We're strengthening those tiny little rotator cuff muscles that are so important for supporting all the other bigger muscles in the shoulder. So a few more of these. You can go fast, you can go slow, as long as we're moving them. And then the last one, almost second last. Keep your elbows tucked in, and then reach one and then the other. And when your elbow comes in, you're kind of crunching it against or slapping it against your torso. So nice and strong, bringing the energy, working the joint, stimulating the torso, stimulating the organs. Let's not think at all about bat wings here, and just think about how good this feels. Okay, up, breathe in, hold your breath, and squeeze Mula Bandha as if you got a ping pong ball and you're trying to suck it up your hoo-ha. And then release everything. We're gonna bring the arms out to the side again, and this time start with your volleyball and go forward with your circles. Baseball, getting a little smaller. You can see how we're bringing this all together now. And then golf ball. Tiny little circles, tiny little circles. It's burning so good. You're getting stronger. What a lovely break. And you didn't even have to stand up. And relax, place the hands on your shins. Ha. Alrighty, take the right hand out in front of you. You're just gonna pull back and do a little tick-tock. So we're rotating from the shoulder joint and feeling it through the forearm. Switching hands. You can probably still feel your shoulders. They're alive. It's a good thing. Take care of our bodies. You know, they say if you don't use it, you lose it, and that's true. And I think that's a big reason why as we get older, our shoulders tend to be more sensitive. We just aren't doing these little movements. And so it's important to practice, practice, practice. Shake it out, and then hands open and closed, downwards. Open and close to the side. Open and close way up high. Shake it out. And then this time flip your palm down and tick-tock. That was Brian. He's having his zoomies right now. Switch to the other arm. Tick-tock. Shake it out. Hands open and closed. Down low. To the middle. Up high. All right, good. Now, I feel like that was a really good break, but if you want to sort of like let it all go, this is when you would get up, stand with your feet just a little while at hip distance apart, and slap yourself with your arms completely limp. Just like that. Toning the body, letting everything go. So anything you might be hanging on to, any tightness, is just flopped away. Whew. And there you have it, your knitting break. I hope you enjoyed practicing with me today, and I will see you again next time. Namaste.